Hi, I'm Manu Entereme, and I'm being forced to recommend Trek TV.
The Vulcan garbage mystery?
Baby's
What's that
neck.
guy's name? Ryan Reynolds?
The Garbage King. The Garbage Lord, perhaps.
Lord Garbage-Churn of the Garbages. He's chatting up Troy about some eel he found.
Found an eel in a locker. Pretty good.
Which one of them was a wreck?
There's some, mild human trafficking. He had to tackle a nearly naked pervert.
Just fucking pin him down and rattle can him?
Just want to give him the old Klingon table skirt.
Surprise, motherfucker! Whoops, that cut right through their shields and exploded them. Oh well.
What else are they going to do on that ship?
Contemplate how a Klingon would perform an upper decker.
That's what I do. I'm a computy.
They have virtually no control over their bowels at any time.
He's me every other Saturday.
Well, it's another day for us. Not a big deal.
The horrible thing that I just said went under the radar. Let's move on.
We're riding bareback.
Nobody fuck up.
Nobody fuck up more than we've already fucked up multiple times.
That's it. I'm gonna leave on a high note. I'll never be back again.
Whoopsie!
Welcome to another amazing episode of Trek TV, the podcast where we watch every single Star Trek episode and movie and talk about them on the internet. Today on Trek TV, we're discussing Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 5, Episode 7, Unification, Part 1. This episode first aired on November 4th, 1991. This is 1991 was an interesting date. As we saw at the beginning of the episode, Gene Roddenberry passed away in 91, a person that has done great things for the world in Star Trek. The story on this one was by Rick Berman and Michael Piller, and it was directed by Les Landau. My name is Vaughn. Joining me today on the lovely Trek TV crew is the lovely and talented Tracy.
Hello.
The beautiful and powerful Derek.
I'm not looking at anything.
And our beloved Jared.
It's fine if I just stare directly at you stone-faced for the entire episode, right, Vaughn?
I am not staring at you. I am an android. I do not require a camera.
Yes.
Do not be alarmed. Very good. Cool. All right. I think we'll kick the ball over to Tracy to help us out with a little synopsis. What do you think, Tracy?
I think you haven't done any of the normal introduction that you usually do.
What normal introduction?
You know, the director.
Let's not worry about it this time.
Okay. All right. So the Enterprise was apparently on a terraforming mission, which they just decided to cancel. I think that is not the kind of mission you want to cancel. Presumably, there's a whole lot of people waiting for this planet to be terraformed so that they can live on it. Anyway,
It's
sorry.
like, whoops, we were planning to open a new orphanage, but nah.
Yes, don't.
Nah.
It'll be fine.
I think the Enterprise probably just stands there and watches it. I bet they're not super critical to the process. They're
Yeah,
just a
like
middle
what would they
manager.
be? I guess it could be I don't know, firing phasers at ice formations or something to release gases or some fucking thing.
I'm
Who
sure they
knows,
have some
but-
science professionals, top science professionals that can give some help.
But I feel like the Enterprise, wouldn't be the best device for performing that operation. There's probably a piece of hardware they just dump on the planet and fuck off for a million years. And
Don't they normally, in these cases, load Spock's corpse into a torpedo and fire him onto a new planet? But since they didn't have Spock,
yeah,
they had to cancel.
I'll pick up the slack.
Sarek wasn't
That's why they
quite dead
canceled
yet,
this?
so...
Yeah.
All right. So, yes, the terraforming mission's canceled. And it was canceled because there's apparently some top secret thing that some admiral needs the Enterprise, or more specifically Picard, for. And the Enterprise is called to a starbase. There's a meeting between some admiral we've never seen before, and I don't think ever see again, and Picard. And we learn that there's an ambassador who has appeared on Romulus without permission, which of course is not cool because Romulus is an enemy of the Federation. And it turns out that this, for anyone listening to this show, will know immediately that the person in the photograph is in fact Ambassador Spock, and he has shown up on Romulus with a few other Romulans, and the Federation is concerned that perhaps he has defected to the Romulan side, and that's potentially very dangerous for the Federation because Spock's been around forever and he knows all their secrets. So if he's defected, it's very concerning.
Yes, indeed.
This episode has some good laughs, but this the end of this scene might have got the biggest one for me. Just the idea that this shitty fucking picture that this that their scout, whatever it is, the satellite or the sensor or whatever, like she has to tell it to enhance the picture when there's no reason it should look that shitty anyway. Like why not just show the picture as it's already been enhanced? And also she looks kind of surprised by it, even though she'd already seen the picture. So she did all this just to
that woman
just to
is
fuck
a
with
terrible
Picard, basically.
actor. Like from point go, you watch her and it's just like her performance is just totally unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Well, funny, and I guess the it was supposed to be another admiral, the one from the start of
Nechayev.
The
little blonde one.
No, this one was supposed to be the woman from Redemption Part 2, and I guess she was actually on the call list, but then
That's not Nechayev.
No, it was the Black Admiral from Redemption.
Is the one that it was supposed to be.
Okay.
The weird bit of trivia.
Yeah, I think I remember
So
that.
why couldn't she make it?
It doesn't. They don't know. It was never said why she actually got replaced.
Butt troubles.
Weird.
Yeah, probably butt troubles.
A mad bout of diarrhea, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so apparently Picard is busy studying the intelligence reports, and he sort of talks a bit about the mind meld, the intelligence reports about Spock. He talks about the mind meld that he had with Sarek. And this is all on the way to Vulcan to meet up with Sarek, who, of course, is Spock's father. Sarek's wife beams aboard the Enterprise, Perrin, and Picard then just sort of gives a backstory about his connection with Spock, of course, through the mind meld he had with Sarek in a previous episode where Sarek was struggling with old age and the loss of his emotional control, and he had to mind meld with Picard to give him a little bit more control so that he could finish these important negotiations.
Control over his loose bowels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some extra sphincter tightening.
And he's really angry or happy about that. We're not sure.
Yeah.
Picard's got that rod shoved so far up his ass. That's the only thing you can convey to him.
No,
How to keep that rod up your ass.
The interesting thing about Vulcans they don't tell you is that all the control they have to exert to maintain their emotions under check means that they have virtually no control over their bowels at any time.
So it's a real.
Yeah, that's why Taco Bell didn't do very good on Vulcan.
It's a trade-off.
No, or it did great.
That's why
it
they
did great
wear
because
those robes so they can put a diaper
Yeah.
into there.
Yeah, they're all it did great because they're all used to it anyway. So like it might just it's another day for us. Not a big deal.
If you ever notice, Vulcan's pants at the bottom are like tied around their ankles.
I think it's appropriate to let everyone know that I saw a GIF today that says 4 out of 5 people suffer from diarrhea.
Yeah.
And that fifth person who loves it is a real sicko.
And it's like William Dafoe or something with this crazy look in the GIF.
The most popular business on Vulcan is Cinco D pants. You can no one knows what that is. That's too bad.
Nope.
For good reason, thankfully.
All right, so Picard reveals his connection. Blah, blah, Picard and Riker talk. Okay, so Picard and Riker are talking about some scrap Vulcan, presumed to be Vulcan wreckage that was found on a Ferengi vessel that had crashed, and it was hidden amongst the wreckage. It was apparently in containers labeled medical or something, and they're confused about why that was. And they are getting the wreckage up to Enterprise for analysis, so they go down to have a look at it. In the meantime, Sarek's wife Perrin is talking with Picard, and she's all excited about real mint tea. She's really sad that Spock didn't say goodbye to Sarek. So she basically tells us that she's pissed off at Spock because he was a dick to his dad from her perspective. So she was actually sort of the catalyst for the breakdown of Sarek and Spock's relationship, because apparently Spock disagreed publicly with his father about the Cardassian War. And while Sarek sort of was like, whatever, Perrin took that really personally.
This seems really weird.
Actually.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's kind of contradictory, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh,
I-
Sarek and his Spock, no, they don't get along. Well, why not? Oh, well, actually, it's me that doesn't get along with him. It's like,
And I mean, like, the idea of, like, her getting upset because
Spock had a different opinion and disagreed with it seems really fucking stupid, actually.
well, she took it as a personal affront to her husband. But
I guess.
still,
I mean, he's the
if-
human side. But
Yeah, but still,
Yeah.
then if Sarek wasn't pissed about it,
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he wasn't pissed about it. The way that I understand this is they were behaving Vulcan-y and not showing their feelings, but obviously they stopped talking to each other. So they're not outwardly showing it, but they do show some
Right.
sign. And it's her that actually is trying to deal with it.
yeah, you could be right there. All right, so apparently Picard then asks to see Sarek. Perrin says, you're the only person that I would ever allow to see him in this current state because he's suffering from a continuation of the disease that we saw him with previously when Picard had the mind meld with him.
Yeah. And because Picard had the mind meld is why he's allowed to see him. Because they're intimately, they know each other. Intimately connected.
Okay, so we head down to the cargo bay quickly. Riker and LaForge and a bunch of other like nameless crew members are down there looking at the space garbage, talking about how it's going to be difficult to figure out what the fuck it is and who the fuck it's from. We go to the scene in Sarek's deathbed, I guess. It looks really uncomfortable. It's too short for him. I don't know why they would put you in a room like that.
Yeah, it's better than the Klingons' room, as we'll see.
Yeah.
a shitty bed in the middle of the room.
Mm.
Yeah, they want to get you out of there as quickly as possible. Is the idea.
They just pop a top on there, and there you go. Your coffin's sorted out. So Picard tries to
Convertible.
Yeah, Perrin and Picard go into Sarek's room, and we get this little, his emotions have taken over. Sarek, he's not himself. He probably won't talk to you, but you can give it your best try. And Picard tries to talk to him. Sarek realizes it's Picard, and suddenly he seems sort of half lucid. And Picard tells him that Spock is missing. Sarek is pissed off that Spock is on Romulus, but he seems confused about it. He suggests that maybe Spock is on Romulus to speak to his old friend Pardek, who is a Romulan senator and Spock maintained contact with. They had some kind of plans to, for peace and whatever, reconciliation between Romulus and Vulcan, but it never amounted to much because
Pardek didn't have much support.
Yes, he was seen as an outsider. And what do they call it? Radical.
Yeah.
So and then we see Sarek getting really confused again at 12:42.
Logic. Never listen. Never listen. It has been suggested that Spock might have defected. Never. I will accept many things, but never that. But you believe he might have gone there to see Pardek? Romulan senator? How do you know Pardek? I've heard of him.
So yes, he's losing his mind.
Yeah, he forgot that he was the one who just said Pardek's name and blah blah blah. So he's clearly not all there. So apparently we find out also that Spock was a pretty disobedient kid, and that Sarek sort of tried to, discipline him, but actually he secretly admired his independence and his refusal to submit. And then he sort of lays back down in that coffin bed thing and asks Picard, basically, he doesn't say it out like word for word, but he kind of asks Picard to tell Spock that he loves him. And then they have their little emotional moment where Sarek can't even remember the Vulcan hello, goodbye, peace and long life, live long and prosper, etc. And he helps him make the little hand symbol, which also could be Almart. That scene is pretty good. Then Sarek sort of completely melts down. He rolls over, hugs himself, starts crying. It's, he's full meltdown. He's me every other Saturday. Back on Enterprise then. So the Enterprise needs to get to Romulus. Of course, to do that, they need to go through the neutral zone. So they have to find a ship with a cloaking device so that they can cross through the borders, etc. So they go to Kronos to ask Gowron for a ship with a cloaking device. The reason that they think this is going to work is because if you all remember what was the name of that episode?
You'll have to give me more
Redemption.
context.
The episode where Picard averts a Klingon civil war and he acts as the arbiter to succession to Gowron.
Redemption parts 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yes. So basically, Gowron owes Picard a favor, and Picard, thinking, the Klingons will be honorable, goes to ask for that favor. But of course, Worf interjects, saying that the reason Gowron will not help you, because they keep hailing him for 3 days and he doesn't respond, is because Gowron is rewriting Klingon history to reflect his contributions far more, and will actually totally exclude the Enterprise and Picard's role in averting the Civil War and all of this other stuff. So he doesn't want to publicly do any favors for the Federation or for Picard, because that would be, maybe accepting that, or I guess reinforcing the fact that the Federation had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to try to get around that problem, the Enterprise decides to contact another member of the Klingon High Council and I think there was 1 or 2 that they try. So they're waiting for a response. In the meantime, Data continues to research Pardek, the Romulan senator. It's some guy that Spock is. It's the same guy that Spock is with in that original photo that the very crummy actor shows us in the first scene, and Pardek is explained at 1713.
Same man. Pardek. One question answered. What do we know of him?
He has been in public service since he was a young man, a senator for 9 decades. He is considered a man of the people. He has sponsored many reforms. Reportedly, Romulan leadership considers him to be somewhat of a radical because he has been an advocate of peace throughout his career.
I can see why Spock would cultivate a relationship with him.
Okay, so that's good background on Pardek.
How has he
Yes.
maintained senatorship for 9 decades in Romulus while constantly everyone hating everything that he stands for?
Pauline Hanson does it in Australia.
She's
Yeah.
not the only
Yes,
one.
that's senators for you.
We elected Tony fucking Abbott.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's always enough people to at least keep 1 or 2 interesting folks.
What about Clive Palmer?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, but it seems like the Romulan society is essentially a giant. I mean, it's hard to imagine them actually having elections, much less elections where some guy who continually advocates for peace gets to stick around. It's surprising.
Yeah, I guess he must have enough. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe he's in
Poland,
a hardly contested seat. Maybe his jurisdiction only has 8 people and they're all his fucking uncles.
Or maybe it's
he just lives near.
maybe it's like Canada where senators are appointed for life.
Yeah, maybe.
And they
Maybe
don't do
he's-
anything.
Yeah.
That would track.
He just represents a town of 12 people that live outside a volcano.
That's what I was thinking.
That's-
So Data's background research on Romulus, etc., has revealed Pardek's sort of routine. So he knows where Pardek lives and that he's going to be in a certain sector of, I assume, the Romulan capital or whatever, at a certain time on a certain day, on certain days. Picard is very impressed with his ability to, I guess, analyze data, which, to be honest,
He
his
should
name
be
is
able to.
Data.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
So they decide, so the Klingons finally get back to the Enterprise. It's some junior adjutant. Picard seems a bit irritated at first. The adjutant says, everyone's too fucking busy to talk to you, just piss off. And Picard leaves a message for Chancellor Gowron at 1850.
That we have been transmitting messages for the past 3 days.
Captain, Goran wishes it were possible to talk with everyone who wants an audience, but he is one man. The demands on his time are formidable. If you would like me to take him a message.
A message? Very well. Tell Gowron, leader of the High Council of the Klingon Empire, that his arbiter of succession, Jean-Luc Picard, needs a favor.
A favor?
I require a cloaked vessel.
A cloaked vessel? This is no small favor, Captain.
It is for a mission that could have repercussions throughout the quadrant.
How would it benefit the Klingon Empire? I'm sure Goran will ask.
The only benefit to the Klingon Empire would be our gratitude.
That is what you want me to tell him?
Yes. And please add that if he is unable to provide us with a ship, then I am sure there are others in the Klingon Empire who would be willing to help me. And then they would have our gratitude.
Okay, so this goes on for a while, and it's fucking
Some
awesome.
light blackmail.
Well, I love it. It's political innuendo because basically Gowron's position is still shaky. You know, it's always going to be, and he needs powerful allies, not to be supporting his enemies.
So we have some light blackmail. So, okay, now we go to sickbay where Crushbones is fitting Picard and Data with their Romulan makeup. There's some cute little jokes in there. Nothing too integral to the episode. Does anyone want to?
Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. The fact that they're concerned about not being able to return Data back to his original color. Why would that ever?
Yeah, that's funny.
Why would that ever be an? Why would that ever be an issue?
Can't you just soak him in bleach for like a few days?
Yeah, just fucking pin him down and rattle can him. Like, what the fuck? Also, the fact that she's pretty angry that his ears can't be removed. It's like, why?
I think she
they gotta fucking do
they
it.
can take him off.
But I mean, they got to do it for Pickard either way.
Yeah, but like if you can just
his
remove
ears can't be
and
removed. Like, just make two
some...
sets of the same fucking ones. Like,
but they have to be specifically
I don't know.
molded to their, blah blah blah.
I don't think she was angry. I think she was just like, hey, you got a bunch of other detachable parts. I've pulled that dick off so many times.
Yeah.
Like, so
that fucking thing won't stay attached
no?
anymore with these lips.
Damn, that would have been convenient.
What would be the point of filleting an android dink?
Science.
Yeah. But the real question is, what other dunguses can crush or suck off?
Whichever one she wants. She's the chief medical officer.
But right off, though.
Oh.
Disattach.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dismember. All right. So now we're down. Now that discussion went nowhere. We're down in the cargo bay where LaForge says the garbage down there is Vulcan. It's from a ship called the T'Pau. And apparently that ship was supposed to be at a Federation surplus depot, aka a junkyard. So that's strange because if it's there, it shouldn't be here, and it shouldn't have been on the Ferengi vessel, and they don't know how it got anywhere aside from that garbage dump. So now a Klingon vessel turns up, decloaks off the, nearby the Enterprise. Picard's pretty happy with himself about that. He and Data head over to the Klingon ship, and the captain starts sort of, asking questions about what the mission is. Picard doesn't reveal anything, but the Klingons already seem to know about the defector. And yeah, they reluctantly sort of agree to head to Romulus without any real details. And the Enterprise just takes off somewhere else. We don't actually know where they're going at this point. So on board the Klingon ship, we go into Data and Picard's assigned quarters. The Klingon captain is just like, oh, we're tough and you're not.
No. Being shitty for the sake of being shitty.
Yeah, he's just like trying to make them uncomfortable. Like, here's our bed. Klingons are tougher than you. We eat worms. So the other thing that I found a bit interesting or odd or whatever, however you want to look at it, about the Klingon captain is that he seems really reluctant to like go into a dangerous situation.
He's
weird.
like, oh.
Don't Klingons love that?
That's what it felt like. That was supposed to be his like, oh, well, now we're in on it. Now we're in for this type thing. But he doesn't really spell that out or make it really clear. But that should have been his like, yeah, okay, well, then at least we've got that.
These Klingons do seem pretty swifty politically, though, and that's not really like it's interesting how Klingons sometimes are and sometimes aren't.
No, they always are, but they always proclaim not to be.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, he did seem kind of cowardly, but then he got into it.
All right, so the Klingon ship reaches the neutral zone and they cloak. This is when we find out that the Enterprise is chasing up the Vulcan garbage mystery. and they're heading to the salvage depot where the Vulcan garbage apparently was supposed to be at this point.
Is it
Top
Vulcan garbage? I thought it was
top 5 B plots, Vulcan garbage mystery.
Yeah. So they head to the garbage dump where the Vulcan garbage was supposed to be at this point in time. From the T'Pau. They ring up the garbage master and ask him about the T'Pau. He's just like really
Please.
dismissive.
The garbage king. The garbage lord, perhaps.
Yes. Yes. Lord Garbage, turn up the garbages. Garbage. Dokachin is his name. And he wants Riker to, make an appointment through his offices. And perhaps then he will refuse him at a later date.
But
just like dealing with the university.
we all know the real question here, right?
Nope.
What?
Nobody knows that. Let's carry on.
What's the real question?
On a
I know
scale
what he's
of
gonna
1
say.
to 10,
Don't.
Yeah.
how much does Tracy want to lick those cheeks? They're pretty good looking. Do you think it would be different if you went from top to bottom and bottom to top? I feel like it would be.
This guy is
I
the
knew
same
this
race.
was coming. I already knew it.
Yeah.
Vaughn and I were talking about it when he was on.
At
Our
what
fans
point,
expected at this
how
point.
long
You're
will
gonna
Derek
bring-
go before he asks about licking this creature? This guy's the same race as the...
It still makes me a
Tactical
bit
genius,
sick. Like it makes my
right?
throat
Yeah.
clench a little every time I think about it.
I
But
really like
seriously,
his
top to
collar.
bottom or bottom to top? Is it like wiping?
I don't.
Do you always go front to back?
I don't think about it.
Should get it
You're not getting
affected.
hurt. Sucked in this time.
All right, carrying on. Riker's pretty pissed off that this guy isn't just immediately, allowing
Licking
Riker to
boot.
lay his naked body on top of him.
Licking the Federation boot.
Yeah. Riker's like, being all like alpha about it. And Troy's like, calm the fuck down and, speak to this man with some fucking respect, basically. Riker doesn't want to do that. So he makes it Troy's problem.
Yeah. That's called leadership.
Yeah.
This is why Riker should have been a captain years ago.
So Dokachin, he doesn't want Federation personnel in his computers. He claims not to have the people to, look up the T'Pau for the Enterprise. So instead he comes on board. The Enterprise comes up to the bridge and they clearly just use Troy as bait. Dokachin knows that and he's like, yeah, that's all right. It's a good strategy.
This guy's pretty
he's
good.
on board as well.
This guy should have had a spin-off. Just his daily
Yeah.
his daily life as a put upon fucking space scrap man.
Space garbage dealer.
Yeah.
He's like, look, I know you've clearly dangled this hot lady in front of me, so
This
I'll
hot,
cooperate.
this tasty piece of meat.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. We'll carry on.
Yeah. You're right.
So as soon as Troy asks him for the information, he finds it immediately, identifies where the ship T'Pau should be docked, and it tells the helmsman where to go to find it. In the meantime, he's chatting up Troy about, some eel he found, and offers to show
Found
her.
an eel in a locker.
Offers to show her
Pretty
his
good.
large eel.
Yeah.
They are in the very quickly they find where the T'Pau is meant to be docked. The ship is missing. Apparently, some components of the ship were meant to have been sent to another ship called the Tripoli, which we don't know why. They're just constantly beaming cargo to the Tripoli, but apparently they do that. They head over to where the Tripoli is meant to be, and it's not there either. Dokachin is confused about this because he's like, well, we beam shit to the Tripoli every fucking day, so where the hell is it going? He can't figure it out. So the Enterprise decides to hide amongst the junked ships and turn off their whatever and wait because there's a shipment meant to go to the Tripoli that day. So they're going to wait and see who's actually collecting that space garbage.
Yeah, so there's a mint condition Galaxy class starship sitting right there with the lights off, and it's not going to attract any attention whatsoever.
No.
Are you suggesting that they're just like visually looking out into the space garbage and like the hundreds of thousands of ships?
I feel like the fact that they don't know that any of those ships are gone probably plays to the Enterprise's strength, where they can just fucking park anywhere as long as it's somewhat okay. Nobody's gonna fucking notice. Like, they mustn't be like actively monitoring the things that are there.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that they would ever that someone who's just flying in and doing whatever shady business they're doing would ever notice one of the 30,000 random fucking ships around there.
Pieces of garbage laying around.
There's way too much stuff there to possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was weird that they didn't realize that the ship that they were beaming to was missing. But I mean, yeah, in the grand scheme of things,
well, no,
why would they?
Yeah, because they are only aware of it while they're beaming to it, and in that case, there's the other ship there, so maybe it can fake.
Not even so much that. They probably just dump it to a set of coordinates. They don't even care what's on the other end.
Well, I thought the whole idea here was that the Tripoli, whatever this ship is pretending to be the Tripoli.
Yeah,
and they don't it's.
But you think there wouldn't be any sort of two-way communication with a beam? The beam wouldn't be I landed on the Tripoli, it's everything's good. You just kind of beam shit to a set of coordinates and then it appears there. What would have been way cooler is if they show up there and there's just all this floating space garbage because they just keep beaming it to a spot and there's nothing there to receive it.
It would be funny if they were so efficiency conscious that they don't even bother. Yeah, they just beam stuff directly to a coordinate and hope that works out.
But I mean, is there a two-way communication with the beam? I guess there is, because they're oh yeah, I've lost him, or he didn't materialize on the other end. There must be some kind of.
But I mean, would you have the same protocol if you're beaming garbage as you're beaming human beings?
I'm sure it's no different. And they did seem.
I wouldn't think it would be any different, because that would be way more work.
The guy did seem to be surprised, because if the ship wasn't there, he thought he would have known it. That was my understanding.
Yeah, fair enough.
He's
so yeah. So obviously it's turning up and mimicking it, however it's doing it, or whatever the receive signal is, however that works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Basically, that seems to be what their whole trick here is. They're showing up, pretending to be the Tripoli, taking the stuff that's meant for the Tripoli, and then fucking off and doing whatever. And these guys have way too much shit.
Well, selling it to the Ferengis.
Yeah. I think we can't think about this too hard, because then you start to think about, okay, well, the ship can't be exactly the same internal space. And are they always beaming the stuff exactly to the same spot and all this?
Well, is there anything saying that isn't the Tripoli that's been just retrofitted with all these weapons?
I suppose.
I forget if this is a kind of a weird plot, because the thing is, you don't get any closure for this element of the plot, I don't think, yet in this episode.
They blow it up and that's it.
So at this time, it's hard. All we can say is that whatever the ship whether it's the actual Tripoli or not, I think they kind of confirm at least that it's not the Tripoli, but whatever it is has been doing some shady business.
Been tripled.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on the Klingon ship now. Picard is trying to sleep on I think what Data describes as a shelf, which looks just sort of like a stainless steel countertop sort of thing. And Data is just standing there staring off into nothing, because of course he is a robot. Picard's uncomfortable with that. He asks Data sort of what he's doing. Data's like, well, I'm just fucking computing. That's what I do. I'm a computy. And then, because he's just finished talking to Picard, he's just staring directly at him while he's trying to sleep, which is understandably unsettling. Then my favorite part, and you guys were talking about your biggest laugh, I think this was my biggest laugh of the episode, is Data's creepily turning around.
Yeah, he's just doing that to fuck with Picard at
Definitely,
this point, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's gotta be.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
And then Picard gives up trying to sleep. He's like, this is not going to happen for me, obviously, tonight. So he gets up and starts listening to Data ramble on about their mission and how they're going to fit in on Romulus and all that stuff. Then there's a message from the Klingon bridge asking Picard and Data to come up there. And we learn at this point that Sarek, Spock's father, has died.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah. Okay, so we go back to the junkyard now, and the ship that's taking the place of the Tripoli is approaching. It has no ID, and the Enterprise can't identify it as belonging to one people or another. It's clear, though, that it's a combat vessel and that it is absolutely loaded to the tits with weapons. It takes up the position assigned to the Tripoli. The cargo is beamed onto it, and then the Enterprise turns on the lights and is like, "Waha!
Gotcha, bitch."
Yeah. Surprise, motherfucker! And then the ship starts charging its phasers. You know, in typical Star Trek fashion, someone immediately says, their weapons are equivalent to ours, which we needed to know. But apparently they aren't really, because the Enterprise shoots a barely...
Once.
And, like, not even at full power.
Yeah, Riker basically... Riker is just like, we need to get... Let's get their attention, which is funny, because they're already shooting at them. But, yeah, he says, target only the weapons and use, like, 0.75 power or something. And whoops...
Whoops, that cut right through their shields and exploded them.
Yeah.
Oh, well. There goes our best lead.
Yeah.
And, so Enterprise blasts the fuck out of that ship, and now we have no information about who they were, why they were there, or what that means for the plot. Mm-hmm. Now we go back to the Klingon vessel. Picard and Data are dressed up in their Romulan attire, and Picard is very sad about Sarek's death, which, you know, is understandable because they have their little brain connection.
So it's actually kind of weird to me that they waited until they were on the Klingon ship to do all this, apply this stuff, because you think if Crusher had to get all this set up, she would have wanted to make sure that it looked decent before she just fires them onto a Klingon vessel and has them jam it all on themselves.
I assume they were given a tutorial about how to apply it properly and all that stuff.
Probably.
And Data, you know, is an android, so he would do it exactly like he was shown.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, so we go to the bridge.
Okay, they really make it like Picard put this on him.
Yeah,
don't they?
Do. I think they do each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of doing each other.
What else are they
going
to do on that ship?
Yeah.
Hey, just sorry, quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like you were scared when I spoke.
No, I was just surprised.
Oh! You're still here.
I assumed you were going to be like, here's another problem.
There's a monster.
The real problem is we left him for dead in a fucking elevator shaft 2 episodes ago, and he's still here.
Yeah.
That was resolved. So... I just want to...
Jesus Christ, you're still alive?
I thought we kicked you down a turbo lift shaft.
I just wanted to say that I was impressed about Picard not showing even a speck of weakness to the Klingons.
Yeah.
He loves everything. Anything they do to try to freak them out, and they try a lot.
He knows how to handle Klingons.
Like, oh, I love goth. Very fresh.
Yeah. Oh, a dirty slab. That's exactly what I prefer.
That's my preference.
The thing I like to say about that slab is, what do you think the odds are that, like, the captain, every night, he just pulls out his, like, really comfortable memory foam Klingon mattress and lays it out there? Just, like...
He just replicates one every night and then puts it in recycler every morning. So
has like some kind of alarm set up so that, like, if anyone approaches his door, it just immediately dissolves the thing. Like, immediately just...
It's like, you like pull a table skirt out from underneath all the cutlery and shit.
Yeah.
It just does that as he's sleeping.
Yeah.
A table skirt.
It is very likely.
Table skirt.
That's the correct term.
Yeah, that's the correct term. I hope.
A table skirt.
It's all very likely, gentlemen.
Just want to give him the old Klingon table skirt.
Yes.
Table skirt react.
Klingon
table skirt retraction. Reaction, no, retractor. That's the word I'm looking for.
Table skirt
retractor. Yeah.
Oh man.
I could say, I feel pretty confident those 3 words have never been used together. So, congratulations.
We're breaking ground here again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But let me ask you this. Do you think Romulans have ridges on their buttholes you'd like to lick?
I think that
next time Derek says, "Let me ask you something," just say, "No, I won't." I will not. I will not let that happen.
It's a hard no. Pretty sure I said that the first time you asked me that.
That's true. Anyways, yes.
May I ask you this?
Didn't help. In terms of alien genitalia / ani, I think we've talked about that a few times. Here. And I definitely think that there wasn't enough thought given to it in Star Trek. variations.
I don't think
in-
there was any thought.
I like to
given
think
it.
that was
Yeah.
all
Which is the
Roddenberry
correct
thought
answer.
about, but no one ever. They always just had to like be like.
That's the
yeah.
reason he never wanted anything episodic, is because he didn't want to deal with the repercussions of buttholes over 2 episodes.
Figure 8 butthole, etc.
Yeah, if we make everything self-contained, there won't be enough time for Roddenberry to indulge himself in this.
Contemplate how a Klingon would perform an upper decker.
Quad upper decker.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just maybe their buttholes on the back of their arms or something. Anyway, we need to move along from this.
Yep.
All right, move it right along.
So Data and Picard, sporting their Romulan table skirts, head up to the Klingon bridge, and the Klingons laugh about their little costumes, and Vaughn likes this joke. So 3844, we're going to share with you.
Don't you two look sweet? Be careful, android. Some Romulan beauty might take a liking to you. Lick that paint right off your ears.
I just like that.
Rick,
So
lick
Romulans
that
are real
Romulan table skirt clean off your body. Table skirt.
You know what? That might actually be the correct term for that.
No, it's tablecloth. But I think what you're doing
Well, no,
is you're
a
conflating a bed skirt and a tablecloth.
No, a table skirt is the correct
Really?
term. A table skirt is something
there
that
are
comes
table
to the
skirts,
floor.
but
What
they're
is
not
it?
But a
what-
table, it comes to the floor, whereas a tablecloth is just like the top 6 inches. or
They're the
whatever.
big fancy things that you put on like at weddings and stuff. But
Yeah,
like
table skirt is a
not
correct
what,
term.
That's not what people who do the like. They don't use.
Yeah, they
those
probably.
to- That'd be
But no,
they're so
Klingons
fucking
would.
long.
Klingons would. There's like 60% more table skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was intentional.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure.
boy.
But let me ask you this.
Nope.
No. On Romulus.
Careful, android.
On Romulus, Pardek is meeting with a proconsul. Now I have to let you do it.
What is it?
No, it can't.
I
No,
didn't
I-
have anything.
Oh, okay.
I literally let me ask you this, and I took a drink of beer because I knew you were gonna blow up about it.
As soon as I started talking, I'm like, no, I kind of want to know, but I really don't. It's like when you look at the fucking car wreck.
You
Okay,
got us.
So on Romulus,
Want to squish a spider?
Pardek is meeting with a proconsul of some
Hold
description.
on, I think Jared's in trouble.
It's fine.
So Pardek, what he knows about Picard, he shows him a photo of him. Pardek says he doesn't know anything about him, never seen him before. The proconsul says they've received intelligence that apparently Picard is on his way to Romulus, and instructs Pardek to hand out his likeness to the guards and stuff so that they can find him if he is there. Meantime, Data and Picard are in the street where the original photograph of Spock and Pardek was taken. They find an office of some kind of law, something or other, or city councilor type thing. I'm not really sure. And where he lives or where he works, the office isn't open yet, so they go to the restaurant across the road. The proprietress there is very keen on whatever gossip they may have about the person and anything else, and proclaims her loyalty to Romulus. And then Pardek appears. They abandon their gross soup slop that they're trying to eat, and some soldiers pick them up and take them to a staired cave, which we know is very common in the Star Trek universe. Pardek then comes
Picard,
in.
just back to the soup. Picard does a pretty good job of making that soup look fucking disgusting.
It does look disgusting.
No, it looks like a fine soup, but he does a good job of making it look like it's a sick fucking mess.
I think it looks terrible.
It's just like a mash, like a hearty soup, isn't it?
It's a gruel,
I don't know.
perhaps.
It's
It
kind of
looks
like
a gruel of
gray,
some sort.
kind of yellowy.
It's
it doesn't
brown.
look appealing to me.
I thought it looked brown, like diarrhea.
Yeah, baby diarrhea.
What other soup doesn't look like that?
That's a fair point, Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like here
It looks like
in
fine enough soup. It's nice and thick. It's almost it almost looks
Like a stew.
I would bet it's like a cream of potato soup. Would be my guess. A cream of
Maybe.
potato.
I thought it was like
cheddar.
a bean soup.
Could be a bean
in
soup.
in Australia
Soup
they
TV.
make sweet. They make pumpkin soups.
which are gross.
There's just
That's
I can't
unfortunate.
do it.
Yeah.
I cannot fucking do it. I like savory pumpkin, like I like roasted pumpkin, but pumpkin soup because they use like coconut milk in it, so it's like it's not quite sweet, but it's not quite savory. It's like on the border.
It's actually not gross, but I say it's gross because Tracy can't stand it.
I've tried so many times to eat it because it seems like it should be good from the other things I like, but I just can't do it.
She can't get into it.
Fair enough. Some soups just ain't for everyone.
I think it's the coconut milk. Maybe if it was something else. I'm not a huge fan.
Let's continue to
Anyway,
discuss
yes.
this in perpetuity.
Yes. All right. So some soldiers pick up Data and Picard, take them to the staired cave. Peredik immediately follows them in and says, the Romulan security is after you guys, so we had to get you off the street because someone was going to recognize you and fuck you over. And then Picard says he's there looking for Spock, and then Spock comes out.
What's up, motherfuckers?
We had to get you off the street as quickly as we could. Romulan security knows that you're here. I am Pardek. You are among friends, Captain.
I have come on an urgent mission from the Federation. I'm looking for Ambassador Spock.
Indeed.
You have found him, Captain Picard.
Dun dun dun.
So we have basically, this episode is just setups. They've set up for the next episode. The pacing is, like movie pacing. We've seen this before, particularly from the 2-part episodes. Yeah, it's just setups. There's no resolution at all. We've got the A plot and the Vulcan junk plot.
Yeah.
The A plot being, we don't even know at this point why Spock. We kind of have some ideas about why Spock's on Romulus. Probably has something to do with the little bits and pieces that we've heard about his relationship with Pardek, but there's no sort of serious confirmation about it. And we know that someone's doing some fuckery with bits and pieces from a junkyard. It's kind of all we know, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode is more about just making you wonder whether or not Spock was really there, or if they were ever actually going to reveal that. And then,
sort of a cliffhanger.
It is
actually really a cliffhanger.
It's a very interesting episode in that whole, like, I don't know if they ever did, like, even Redemption Part 1 had more like things happening. Like, Worf gets his redemption by that episode. Like, Part 2 is all about him being, it's supposed to be about him being not in the Federation, work with the Klingons, but there's all that other stuff happening. But this one is really, really just all set up. In fact, the only actual like plot element that like is something that has an actual resolution is it's the end of Sarek.
Yeah, Sarek dies.
You see Sarek and then Sarek dies.
But
and we know
which is
Spock.
fucking bullshit. But.
Yeah.
And we know that Spock is actually on Romulus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting episode in that regard for sure.
Is it coincidental that Roddenberry's passing is mentioned on this episode, or is it?
I was thinking it was funny this is the episode,
or is it accidental? Yeah,
because it seems like this would have been a lot of this would have been everything that Roddenberry would always complain against.
Was against.
Yeah, he didn't want serial episodes.
Didn't want serial. He didn't want. I think he also was like he didn't want people from the original series to show up on this. It was kind of a weird, perfect timing for all that, though. I'm pretty sure it was coincidental. Like, he was still alive when this one was being formulated, I think.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And shot, too, probably.
So,
well, yeah, I guess when did he die?
But he probably didn't. I don't know if he had how much input he had at that point. Like, he was
70.
Yeah, he wasn't.
So he died October 24th, 1991. When did this air?
Oh, November 91.
Yeah.
So
November 4th. So it's like 8 days or 9 days after he died.
Yeah. I guess the game had already aired, but I think it it aired at the time that he wasn't actually. They didn't have time to have any kind of.
Yeah, my thing says it actually aired on the 3rd. Yeah.
Oh, the 3rd. Yeah.
Regardless, yeah, it is an interesting. It's
pretty coincidental. Yeah.
In that case, I would guess that they did not plan to put that memoriam on this episode, but it was the first one after his death, so they just chose to put it on. Yeah. So I think it probably wasn't,
Was his opposition to like episodic stuff, was that widely known then even?
It was back then it was hard for anything to be super widely known in that.
Widely known.
Yeah, the intranet
I
wasn't
suppose.
really a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Perverts still had to, do their thing in private and all that.
Mm-hmm.
They had to go to public pools instead of the internet.
Yeah.
To perverts. Oh god.
Yeah, it's probably not. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that there was like stuff being passed around in like weird fan newsletters and such, but I don't think
AOL web forums.
The Spiner fans were active back then, I believe.
Tracy's friend has a pretty good story about being a lifeguard and a pervert actually chasing a pervert.
He had to tackle a nearly naked pervert, soaking wet.
Oh,
Which one of them was erect?
Yeah.
Depends on what time you asked.
But
yeah, no.
Anywho.
I totally thought of the same thing. It's like, oh wow, this is where Roddenberry's In Memoriam is this episode that was. I think it's a good episode.
Oh, me too. I love it.
It's really cool. Like, yeah, for being a big setup, like it works well. There's some fun. There's fun moments. You get to see. I mean, it does good job of continuing to build world. Like you get to find out, well, what's going on with the Klingons now, following all that shit. Well, look,
and being on Romulus.
Yeah.
Like,
get to see some
get
Romulus.
a little glimpse of what it's like there. I really like that as well.
I appreciate the slow build they do for this episode.
Yeah.
It's
interesting to see a sort of junkyard as well because where do the ships go after? Yeah, of course. There's all these places that we don't know.
Yeah. There's a good mix of everything in this episode. Like there's a bit of like political relations type bullshit. There's a bit of just weird sci-fi stuff with the junkyards. There's a bit of like alien culture with this guy thinking he's the king of the heap kind of bullshit. Like there's a good mix of everything that makes Star Trek good.
There's some like mild human trafficking.
Yeah, there's some good comedy and stuff that is like kind of backhanded and not really slap you in the face about it, right? Yeah, no, it's a really good episode.
It is, but I think splitting it into two is.
I think it helps that
it'll be interesting to see after the second one how we feel.
Yeah,
I like that it's split into two.
I mean, it had to be split into two to be able to do an episode like this for sure.
Yeah, if you did it in one, it would be too crammed.
When I thought about this one before we actually watched it today, some of the thoughts in my brain were around how much of this is just a Spock like a Leonard Nimoy cameo, and how much of this is actually a really good episode.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I'm just saying I'm telling you what my thoughts were after watching it.
And then you realize Nimoy's got 12 seconds airtime in this episode.
Yeah, he does. But I just
I wonder how much he got paid for the first one.
The garbage Leonard Nimoy cameo happens in that one of the most recent movies.
Oh yeah,
where he's on the planet and they just turn up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most recent 10-year-old movies.
Yeah.
well, garbage
15,
movies.
I think.
Yeah.
I
Not
don't.
Actual Star Trek.
They've got nothing to do with Star Trek, but they're better than a lot of they're a lot better than a lot of modern movies.
They're fun. I mean,
yeah,
just
but that's
like,
a low fucking bar.
Like most
how many fucking Spider-Men are there at this point?
Like most Star Trek movies, the movies usually are just goofy romps.
They're a bit of a turds.
That's fine.
They're
like,
good fun.
They're movies.
They're action packed.
Yeah.
They got to put meat in the seats.
But yeah.
Gross.
I mean, I'll get at least they straight up made it an alternate universe, so they can, if they ever wanted to make
That's
it good
such a
again.
cop out.
I know, but it does mean that if they ever wanted to make it good again, they can really easily just go, "Hey, we're back to the universe that isn't stupid."
Yeah, that's true.
There is that. But,
there's another Picard season coming out apparently.
No, they'll do that until Patrick Stewart can't act anymore. So. Another 20 or 30 years at least.
Yes. Okay.
Anyway,
anything else to say about
yeah, I would just say the only thing
I can't remember the name of this.
This episode was I just remember
Unification.
As a kid, this episode didn't really I remember very little about my reaction to this episode because I wasn't invested in I saw things too scattershot at that. I definitely wasn't invested in the overall world, I think. So
yeah.
I didn't know. I remember just I think I knew that vaguely that Spock appearing was supposed to be a big deal, but I had really no concept of who Spock was or anything. So.
Oh, did you? You hadn't watched the original series?
I don't think I ever watched
as a
really
kid?
any of the original series when I was young.
I'm the same way. I hadn't seen the original series before I originally watched TNG.
It probably was,
but I still think I understood the gravity because I didn't see this until I was in high school. Because I didn't start watching Star Trek till I was in high school.
And for me, I knew this was a big deal both because of the way they set it up.
Yeah.
As Spock is basically a god in the universe, and I think I had seen Star Trek V in the universe. Pardon me, in the theater.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I had seen one of the TOS movies.
5 or 6.
I think the original series, if I ever saw it as a kid, like anything about it with it, I just thought it looked so, like, it's too, it didn't look...
Yeah.
It was too 60s.
It looked too old for, like, a kid to see this and be like, oh, this is something that I can watch.
Yeah, fair enough.
Even me as an adult.
I remember the original Star Trek being on Saturday mornings, and I did watch it a bit.
Yeah, like it was it was back when it was syndicated all over the place. I'm sure, like, you could probably find it airing various places at all kind of weird times, but yeah, it wouldn't have been something I ever would have.
I do remember loving it. I do remember absolutely loving it when it was on. But the only memory of the original series I have is they've got that time traveling gate where McCoy goes back and kind of he's crazy. Do you remember? He goes back in time. Anyway, doesn't matter. Refer to
probably
Trek TV.
Yeah.
Episode 67.
Somewhere around there.
About 10 years ago.
Derek, did you actually just look that up?
No, I knew that. I've got a
knew that.
photographic memory.
Remember everything that happens to you.
You got a photographic table skirt.
All right.
I meant memory.
Yeah.
Right. So, it's a beautiful.
We should look up. I'm gonna totally look up episode 67 and see what it is now.
If it's The Edge of Tomorrow, which I'm pretty sure is the one that he's talking about, then I feel like we've something magical.
That's it. I'm gonna leave on a high note. I'll never be back again.
So if you wanted to look up The Edge of Tomorrow, there's a brand new search feature on TrekTVPodcast.com.
Yeah, you can just search for probably 67.
Section.
Yeah. You can keep browsing while you listen.
The only other thing I'd say about this episode is I'm still amused by the idea that every time they go to the computer and need to look up like a photo, they have to tell it to enhance that shit. just hit it, just enhance it and then save it. Come on. Like what use is this blurry piece of garbage?
Just get rid of the shitty fucking version.
Like this is something that I'm pretty sure camera phones now just do automatically when you never even see the terrible
camera phones
fucking blurred mess.
What about satellites?
Satellites? No, satellites don't.
Do you remember when that was an actual word?
Yeah, that's true.
67 is Plato's step. Oh boy, that is a very hilarious cover photo.
This is where the little person rides Kirk like a horse.
Yes.
All right, so we still kind of won.
Episode.
There was still a victory.
I mean,
win.
There are definitely losers, so that also means there are winners.
Yeah.
City on the Edge of Forever, I believe, is the one that Jared may be referring to. This
episode 28.
Trek TV episode 28.
That was my initial thought.
Thumb off.
I was thinking 28, but then I was like, no, that's not correct.
That turns out that was just the number of inches your table skirt is.
He's got a photographic mind.
I mixed up tablecloth and table skirt again, but it was backwards this time. Sorry, guys.
All right, if you're still somehow listening to us, let us move to fan mail.
The best part about this episode, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like 45 minutes long. Like,
yeah,
just so much garbage and dead space.
But
the real problem is that we're going to be 12 beer deep by the end of this, so it's like there's going to be weird jumps in there where we
let us all silence ourselves and listen to our great friend Mark Thomas and his email entitled Guinan.
Hi, Trek TV friends. I just wanted to express my appreciation for the interesting production and editing choices brought to the podcast since your return. Specifically the sound collages which precede each episode like a stay tuned teaser. Also, the post-hiatus essays revealed by an upward swipe at the TTV logo, more than the perfunctory blurbs provided by the TV commentary also-rans which clutter the internet these days reminds me of the liner notes often featured on the long playing record sleeves backsides of bygone days. A bit of reading before the listening begins. Well done. Mark!
Wait! I got more! I used to be so sad because you'd left podcasting at about that point when Trek could get good, when TNG kicked into gear, kicking likewise into, as described earlier, unfamiliarity for me. What I wondered was, what with all this kicking did I miss? Did we ever learn anything about Guinan's species? The character's name derives from the infamous Prohibition-era speakeasy-ria operator Mary Louise Cecilia Texas Guinan. Her character's character, however, is modeled on Yoda, or the clerical authority of anyone whose faith or philosophical orientation differs from that of your parents. What I'm saying is, it's high time a baby Guinan became all the rage. I want to be badgered incessantly to buy one of the goddamn things every time I fail to drag a kid past the Target toy and games aisle. So less mystery, more ancillary merch, how's that? Okay, that's good. Had my say. Cut and paste.
Mark!
The idea
Also,
of
always baby Guinan. Love
of
it.
a baby Guinan,
Yeah.
stuffed Guinan is.
Imagine the size, the different hats you could sell.
Yeah.
For that.
Don't let Paramount hear
Stuffy.
this idea, or we're in for it.
Yeah, they'll have like, I don't know, someone playing Guinan. Like,
How big can a hat be before it snaps a baby's
what's that
neck?
guy's name? Ryan Reynolds.
The horrible thing that I just said went under the radar. Let's move on.
Find out that Guinan's first name is like Groggy or something.
Groggy Guinan.
Groggy Guinan, yeah.
All right. Who would like to
Goofy
read?
Guinan.
Who would like to read this one, Tracy? Are you up for
I
looking
can.
at?
There's got to be a
Like-
shitty Funko Pop Guinan, right?
Mark R. writes the first.
Entitled Redemption.
Oh, sorry, Redemption Part 2. This is the one about the Klingons.
Booby window.
The tit window. So, Mark R. writes, the first officer that was giving Data problems. I would not have tolerated that at all. In the military, someone might be put in charge, and you don't agree. Tough. I would have airlocked that guy right into space. The boob windows are a great idea. I'm considering starting a new fashion trend. Man boob windows. I mean, man boobs get sweaty too. Also, it will give the ladies a peek of what's to come if they play their cards right. Who's with me? Mark R.
I'm with
Man.
you.
Aren't those just V-necks?
I love it.
Deep V-necks.
Yeah.
Or you could go completely shirtless circus, but I like the boob window for men idea.
I don't think it would work for men. Because
Why
the
not?
boobies are too spread out, aren't they? Like, they don't have...
They don't push them together as well.
Yeah, 'cause
So you'd have to sell it as a combo, like some kind of
You'd need
wonder bra / boob window.
a man's
Some kind of-
ear.
Some kind of tit tape and boob window.
Well, there is tit tape.
Let me get my
For men.
man's ear.
But I feel like I've never seen a pair
It's
of
the
man
bro.
boobies where, like, unless the hole was like a foot wide.
Well, the thing is, you don't
East, west.
You're assuming you're looking at like hangers versus pecs. Like if a man's got like fucking
yes,
ripped pecs, they look
Okay.
like titties. That
Yeah.
like two ping pong balls there.
Okay,
yeah.
I'm following. Yeah, yeah, okay, and I'm
Yeah,
also on board for that.
Tracy's thinking
in
of
that case.
the big flopping.
I was
floppy
thinking about,
sausage
like,
Yeah, the
tits.
East
you know.
Westers. Yeah, no.
the old,
Big salami teats, you know.
you know, where you heat up your salami while you're being crammed down an elevator shaft.
Right, yeah.
The salami storage containers.
All right, so thank you for the emails. trektv@gmail.com. We need more emails. What else?
The official Facebook page. Apparently, there's like nearly 100 followers at the unofficial one, which doesn't really get used. And Kaylin's been trying to shepherd people over to the official one. So please look up, what is it? Official
Trek TV
fans.
But what I noticed is if you find any Trek TV group, the last post on the unofficial Trek TV fans.
Yeah, it has a
direct
link,
to the
so
right
you
one,
can get there from there, and that's kind of where. So Vaughn's sort of introducing our ridiculously amazing and prolific fan art from the last 10 whatever odd years on that Facebook page. So if you want to see that and comment about it and talk about it and submit your own creations, then that's where to do it. And then Vaughn also puts them up on the webpage. But yeah.
Yep, trektvpodcast.com/fan art if you want to have a good look through everything. And we're slowly going through the backlog, getting everything back on the site now that the new site is prepared for it. So if you want to send us some fan art, much like Kaylin has done with her amazing Beloved Jared fan art, we need some more Beloved Jared work.
Yes. Always love seeing people's representation of our beloved Jared.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, you guys forgot about our new merchandise section. Check out our new merchandise section in your nearest Target where you can find a baby Beloved Jared doll. Take your kids. They love them.
Oh my God.
Not for use by children.
Oh my God. I love this.
Yeah, so and the most
18
recent
and up, please.
Is this recent?
The most recently posted
canon
fan art from our good friend and talented artist Mark Thomas harkens back to our coverage of the animated series, and he's animated the entire Trek TV crew at the time.
I love that. I can't believe I forgot about this.
I think this is before Derek. This current Derek was so heavily involved, because I don't think he's featured here.
We've got Dustin, Jared, Derek, the other Derek, Chris, and is that you, Vaughn?
Yeah, that's me running up the hill. So anyway, great.
Incredible.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing some more. I was joking that Mark Thomas may need to fire his girlfriend so he can get his head back in the game, because this stuff just brilliant.
So you can keep contributing, yeah.
All right, so thanks for putting up with another amazing episode of Trek TV. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/TrekTV. And if you can afford to do so to help us with our bandwidth and hosting costs, find the link to Patreon on our website and join the officially supporting crew. Thank you.
Trek TV, the show where you're only occasionally horrified.
Thanks, Mark, for making the intro and outro songs. And,
that too.
Absolutely.
And maybe next week we'll get some resolution to whatever the fuck went on with all of this.
Spock's up to.
Hopefully.
To be continued.
We out.